Damien, what the hell, man? You really have to go that hard after my short? Oh my God, it was so. I don't even know what to say. Like it's just so impactful, so beautiful, so frustrating. But it's so much of a call to action. I mean, we were talking at an event earlier today, and you were telling me like you had a hard road with it at times. I mean, every filmmaker has a struggle, but I could only imagine the multi-year process of something like this. But you said this is your home, and that's what kept me going. And it kills me to think that if this was never made. Like, because I had no idea, and I live a state away from St. Louis, and it's crazy, and I think it's just such an inspiration to so many filmmakers that your back's against the wall, you're frustrated, but this is something that's a passion to me, and you push through, and you hope that it's gonna be received on the other end, and you just did a phenomenal knockout job, and you should be all St. Louis should be proud of you because you completely crushed it. Yes. So thank you for persevering and completing that project.
The footage was amazing, by the way, all the archival footage.
The footing was absolutely amazing. My burning question is: were you ever concerned? This is for Damien. Were you ever concerned about your own safety or well-being, bringing this story to life in such a visual and effective way?
You know what? It's something you think about when you're telling these stories, especially when you're going through drafts. You know, and you're going through different cuts. You know, because this is an hour. So I had a draft that was an hour and 13, an hour and 15, and you're taking in all this information. And you're like, man, somebody might be upset with me about this. But again, I am from Missouri, which is the show me state, so this is a story that I felt was very passionate. I was very passionate about, and it's about my family, it's about my hometown, it's about the people that helped rear me as a young person and my community. So I can go fearless with that, especially as it's injustice, and we gotta speak truth to power as much as we possibly can. So again, just part of that North Side raising allowed me to just be like, it's going to be what it's going to be.
I like that fire. You need that. You need that in your belly.
Thank you.
We're going to throw it over to Eli. Eli, your film is so fun. It's very fun. It seems light on the surface. But I feel like during the scene where the coach is reprimanding the girls, it really goes deep. Like she's really saying something there. Can you talk about the message for the film and that scene in particular? What is it about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's such a fun story, and that was the intention, to bring like people to go see it. And what it really came down to was, I wanted to put my experience, my Latino identity, and the issues that I gone through growing up in it. And the message behind the film, behind all the chaos and stabbing, white guys in the legs and stuff, was the insecurity of your identity in the Latino experience. And we hit on hair texture, we hit on colorism, we hit on what generation you are, not knowing Spanish. And these are all insecurities I had. I'm half Mexican, half Afro-Boricua, Puerto Rican. And I have 6 little sisters who are black girls and white passing girls. And I've seen in our community that we butt heads so much within our community, yet we want to progress in Hollywood. We want to progress in politics. We want to progress socially, but we're the same but different, and we always think we're better than the other people just because you're Puerto Rican or Dominican or Cuban. But so what I wanted to show was those girls are the representation of the community and how we all need to come together. And it doesn't matter if you know Spanish. It doesn't matter how dark you are, how light you are. You are Latina. It's not something that you try to be. It's just who you are. And then the sooner we all come together as a community, and we see the hood-ass white girl too. She's an ally. She's. And I grew up in that neighborhood where the white people were like of the culture. They were in it, and a little too much sometimes.
Represent.
But they were allies, and the black and brown experience, and all of us coming together to get things done. And in this particular story, beat the hell out of killers in the woods. So,
yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, I love that. And the coach said that y'all sisters got to stick together. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
I love the way that your film ended, by the way. Like, I just like she goes, what the fuck? I just love, that's so
full. Yeah. It's so full. It's so good. It's so sincere. Yeah, I really love that part too. The commonality with both of your films is you guys are talking about racism, but the really tragic, dark side of racism. How are you both moving through the world to kind of dismantle racism? I mean, you're doing it through film, but how are you moving through the world as filmmakers to try to address, racism on your day-to-day?
Oh man, day to day. I think a lot of people, I guess, particularly in my experience, you know, a lot of people don't understand, like, I guess right now we're talking about colorism within the Latino community. That's the big thing that we're talking about right now.
Can you quickly define that for someone who might not know what that means?
Oh, colorism in the Latino community. So it's like pretty much growing up, like you look at me, you watch Telemundo, Univision, those were the only Spanish channels. Everything was light skin, blue eye, blonde hair, Eurocentric features, and that was the beauty standard. And that's just what we accepted. And so I always thought I looked off. I always thought I looked different. And I was actually talking to someone last night about how there was racism in my family, in my black Puerto Rican family, which I grew up watching. I couldn't see anyone that looked like me on TV. You know, like you watch Friends or Seinfeld, no one looks like me. So it was no one looked like me in Telemundo. So all I had was Martin, Fresh Prince, all that. So I was like, I'm black. I'm a black man. I'm black, and my grandma, who is a black woman, you are Puerto Rican. She locked me in her car until she admitted the fact that, like, you're not leaving this car until you admit that you're Puerto Rican. And I was like, because we weren't talking about color. We weren't talking about all that yet. If I grew out my curls, they would say it's nappy. If I got too dark, they would call me darky. They would make fun of me for not looking like the Eurocentric beauty standard of the culture. So that's a big conversation that we're having right now, and that's the beauty of having even like the subtlety of comedy to talk about it, where I get to have conversations like at festivals like this, or even every day to remind people like, yo, even within the families, we got to reconstruct some things. So that's yeah, from Thanksgiving to film festivals, it's an everyday job. So yeah, that's the way I'm doing it.
And what Eli's talking about is something that we experience in the black community too. There's colorism. It's very difficult. There is this European standard of beauty, and then it goes down from there. So the darker, the nappier, like all that stuff, you know, it starts, and you're disparaged based on how close you are to that, you know, standard of beauty. And I'll give that question over to Damien. Yeah, what are you doing on your day-to-day to break down stereotypes and racism and bring us to a more harmonious, beautiful place where we would never, you know, collectively as Americans commit the crime against humanity that happened in St. Louis?
You know what? What I'm doing day to day is just being myself. One thing we have. Thank you. What I'm doing day to day is just being myself. One, we have to understand that, you know, no race is a monolith. You know, no group is a monolith. Everyone has a diversity of thinking, diversity of action, diversity of. So that's the first thing. So we have to show that there's different representations of your group, and put that out there unapologetically. So that's one thing that thank you for that one clap. I appreciate that. But no, you know, so that's the thing that I do in my day to day to answer that part of the question. But then also as a storyteller, as an artist, I kind of and I love what you were saying about those Easter eggs and those nuggets that we try to put into our stories to have you deal with and address issues that you might not, you know, address. So, for example, for like Target, yes, the Target St. Louis Volume 1, the documentary is about environmental justice, about the chemical spraying and all those type of things. But also, if you really look at it and you analyze it, there's also a failure in your local government. No one in that local government stood up for those people and represented that voting bloc as they should have. So that's this film also speaks on how you have to be involved in who your local politicians are, because you don't have to we shouldn't have to just depend and vote in these executive these executive races where it comes like the governor and things like that. Who's the comptroller? Who's controlling the money? What does this judge represent? Because those are the people, the first lines of defense that should have protected the people that were that was affected by, well, not just the people, our people and my family and friends and community that was affected by this chemical testing. So, you know, so daily and art, that's what I try to do, you know.
Showing up Apologetically, I love it.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I met Damien in 2015. Some of you heard me talk about this already, but we were both at the Urban World Film Festival in
Yes,
2015. We
yes.
both had short films in New York, and we connected over a lunch, much like we do filmmaker lunches and stuff here.
Yep.
And we've been connected for 7 years. We at least once, twice a quarter.
Yeah.
We text, we call. Sometimes like I'm in LA, you're in LA, or we find ourselves at the same film festival, and it's been so great. And my next film I'm working on, he's got a role in the film with Christina. They have a really fun. Did we talk about that in person yet?
No.
Not yet.
They have a really fun scene together. I can't wait. But he has been doing this art and advocacy work for some time, and I was totally drawn to it. And then when we were doing the BraveMaker Film Fest this year, and I saw he won the Urban World Film Festival, the same one we met at in New York. He won it last session as the best documentary. I was like, I'm going to see this film. Send it to me. And then I said, oh, yeah, we definitely got to bring it to Redwood City. So thank you.
Thank you, good people. First, real quick, this festival is amazing, man. I really appreciate the passion and the heart that you good people are putting behind this festival, because you can tell that it's artist driven, and you can tell that it's passion driven, and that comes across. You know, I know how it is when you're the hustle and bustle and everything's happening, and you want everything to go right, and you want the air conditioning to come on, and you want all this to happen. You know, but all those things are playing a part in you, and you're dealing with it so cool and calmly, sir.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you are, man. So I just want to if we can give this BraveMaker and the whole team a round of applause.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you, good brothers.
Team, thank you, team. I know I've been like driving things like nuts today, and Sean McCarthy and Jessica pointed out I have 6 kernels of popcorn stuck to my shirt. And I was like, I'm leaving them on there because I am a mess today. Let's hear from you all. Questions, comments for Eli, for Damien. Just shout it out nice and loud. Throw your hand up. I will repeat it for our live stream. So go ahead. Anybody got a question or a comment? Just go ahead. Priscilla, I see your hand. So much research, so many people. How long did it take for you to make this film was the question.
You know, the amount of time that it took for me to make Target St. Louis Volume 1, I say around 4.5, 5 years, but it would have been much shorter if I had to. It was certain hurdles and obstacles that I had to overcome while doing this documentary. I think it would have cut it down for about a year and a half. But the thing is, we got it done. Yep. And I'd say it was God's plan, because at this point, at the point where I would have finished it, I ended up getting more interviews. Then I got more footage. Then I got people that just out of the blue had some, hey, I got this picture and I got this story. You should talk to this. And that just let me know to go further and keep pushing and leave it open. Because, what they say about documentaries, they're saying that, they're never finished. They're just abandoned, right? Because you could keep on reworking it. Well, we had several versions of this. So the archival footage was, pretty in-depth because we wanted to make this narrative. I tried to make this be something similar of your favorite science teacher, Because you can go to a science class where oh, he's cool, you walk out of there with a C, but then that teacher they give you like a B+, performance where he makes the information palatable for you and things like that. That's what I tried to do this. So it took a lot of archival footage and mixing medias like illustration and narrative and score and sound. Those type of things had to go hand in hand so you can digest something as heavy as what we're speaking about. Hope that answered your question, please.
I remember, Christina, you talking about all the additional animations and sound effects were so great, man.
Oh yeah, I got just a couple things one for each. First is documentary-wise, as far as like justice for those people and moving forward with them. I know when I talk to documentary filmmakers, they come very close with people that are the subjects of their film. So I'm curious about your future with them, or how you see that shaping up.
Sure. What's
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
The question is, Nick? Yeah, Nick was asking Damien about his relationship with the people who participated in the documentary and what was the result of that. And what the future holds for them.
Okay. I have an extremely close relationship with these people in this documentary. One, they're my elders of the St. Louis community, you know. And then two, well, actually should have been one. My grandmother's in this documentary. So how I came about this story is that my grandmother she mails me letters. You know, my grandmother didn't text. You know, so she just sent me letters, and most of the letters were about gossip about the family, who did what how, you know, those funny and loving things. But in one particular time, she sent me a news clipping from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and that was it was a quick blurb about Dr. Martina Taylor's thesis statement that she mentions in the documentary, and it was a quick note saying, hey, this is the community I grew up in, I was a part of this. And then after I went on and did more research, that's how, you know, I got in, you know, I got really upset. And I think that if you have a skill set, you should always use that skill set to, you know, help affect change or do something within your community or your people. You know, no matter what the situation is, if you got it, you should do something with it, because it was, you know, it's a blessing to even have it. So I got into that, and so within filming this documentary, if you notice, my grandmother passed within this process of completing this documentary. So, you know, and that was my baby. I was raised with my grandmother. That's my girl. Thank you, brother. You know, so that's how close I am with this. And each person in this documentary, I didn't have to pull. They wanted to tell their stories. They wanted to get this information out. They was very excited and thankful that I, you know, took on this mantle and pushed the line with this documentary, because they again, like they said at the end of the documentary, they don't want this to happen again. So I left the numbers up at the end of the documentary who to reach out to, but then also we've been planning different screenings, and then there's a teaching toolkit that goes along with this documentary, and also law review articles that help. That's the tactic that we implement when we try to affect change, by showing this to you know, representatives, and have them, you know, and then having this teaching toolkit, and where we can talk about it and pull out the things from the documentary that, you know, that should be stressed out. It's the same tactic that we did with a couple other things. So we got a, you know, a record of it working for other documentaries and stuff like that. So
I love that tactic. Make a movie and then provide resources and follow up. That on point right there. Did you have another question for Eli, Nick?
Thank you, Damien. Eli, I just found the comedy so smart, so funny, and so and to have 5 different characters, or was it 5? The girls?
Yeah, 5.
And they all have completely different personalities, and keeping track of the visual gags. And you know, could you just talk about the process of collaborating with the humor with the actors and stuff that came up on set, or how you know, and you write that way all the time? Is that your thing? You know, it was great.
So for Nick, for the live stream, the question was great on all 5 characters and the different personalities and tracking with them. Can you talk about the collaboration with them and tracking with them, and anything you want to say about that process?
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I had a completely different timeline than Damien. I got into an inclusion fellowship with Netflix and LALIF, the Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival, and I was one of 9 filmmakers, and pretty much I had, from just an idea to final cut, we had 6 months. So I went straight to LA. We pre-pro'd for a month. We shot in 3 days. It was really fast. A month of post-production, so it was just like quick. But I knew I had to find talent that could hang, but also they also have to look young enough to look like they're high school, but also I can't afford people that are under 18, because then you have to get a coach and it's more expenses. So it was a challenge, but yeah, we did so many Zoom rehearsals. It was all the rehearsals we did on Zoom. I think we met and got margaritas one night and just got tipsy because everyone was over 21. And then we kind of read the script. But through the casting process, how I knew which one was going to be the one was at the end of every casting session. I was like, okay, we're going to improv, and I'm just going to talk shit to you, and you have to talk shit back to me. And I'm a teenage girl. I'm throwing stuff at you. I'm like, your hair looks stupid. And then they'll be like, your hair looks stupid, you punk bitch. You know, and then they start yelling at me. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I'm casting you. I'm like, I'm crying. You're literally making me cry right now. I'm like, I'm going to cast you. You're good. So I knew the dynamic would work with the characters. And honestly, I'm the oldest of 10 siblings. I have 6 little sisters. So I study. And they read the scripts too, and I got really good at. I guess I have a knack for ensemble casts and comedy and back and forth, and every sibling of mine is a different character, so I take a lot of inspiration from them. So, yeah, and that's a big part of the stories I like to tell and like to write. So, and then the talent was freaking amazing because we had 0 time to really rehearse on set, so we just had to move. So, yeah, they were phenomenal. But thanks, man.
We have time for 1 or 2 more burning questions. I see a hand up there. Just shout it out nice and loud.
The question is, will there be a part 2 from Volume 1, Target St. Louis?
You know what? Volume 1 is the it's an anthology series that I want to do in St. Louis, partly to I can't say vitalize the bring the film industry to St. Louis, Missouri. So to let my folks know there's below the line jobs that are good living. That is
Explain below the line jobs.
Below the line jobs, or anyone that's not the director or the actors that's in front of the line. So your DPs, your grips, your swings, your dollies, those the electricians, the art department. All these those are careers that a lot of people, especially people of color, do not know even exist. And these jobs that are paying, if you get especially a union job, these jobs take you around the world and pay you a ridiculous salary for your expertise or your hard work. So this is an industry that these are jobs that, again, a lot of people that I know don't even know about or exist. So I would like to work at bringing that to St. Louis. So Volume 1 is part of the 5 films that I will be doing in St. Louis. Wow. And this is just the first one, a documentary. Then I have a narrative. We have 2 narratives that's going to be there, which is the next one is Volume 2, which is Victory High, aka The V, and that's that. And the subtitle.
I read that script.
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, the subtitle is Volume 2, and then we have another documentary. And that's a narrative. Then we have another documentary, and then we have a couple other installments. So that's why Volume 1 is important for Target St. Louis Volume 1, because that's pretty much the beginning. And if you pull out some of the things in which they talk about what happened to St. Louis behaviorally because of the chemical testing and how things lay dormant and when active in children and people later in life, you kind of pull out some of the things that we're going to address in Volume 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Amazing. And let me just say, filmmakers like Damien and Eli, they need your resources and your support and your finances, all right? So if you are someone who has any resources, even tonight, I just want to challenge somebody. Maybe you've got some cash burning in your pocket and you just want to say, hey, I want to support you. If it's $100, $1,000, $10,000, we need to support our independent filmmakers with finances. I want to encourage us to be that type of community. I know Eli tomorrow is pitching his next film at our Pitch Fest. So tomorrow, if you want to be a part of that at 2:30 at the museum, he's going to be pitching for some money to win some money tomorrow. But even if he doesn't win, he still needs money. Give him some money.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd take Cash App. I got Venmo. I got Zelle, no, I'm kidding.
All right, quick burning questions. I see there's a bunch of hands. Quick them. Shout them out. Quick. That's my mom. So that's my mom. She's blown away. She thinks it's phenomenal. The question is, why is this not being taught in history classes? That's Robin.
Hey, Tony's mom. You got to be so proud. Yes. So yes, exactly. Raise your hand if you have never heard about the story, right? Okay. Now, and here's exactly. So, and that's the same thing that was happening to people when I was making this documentary and screening it all around. Their mind are just blown. Like, this happened in America? But again, this, it's a history of chemical testing and testing for their, testing for the improvement of life that has been done on African Americans for, generations and been covered up. This same test was happening at the same time of the Tuskegee experiments. And so they had dual experiments happening at the exact same time. So that lets you know how much of a filter that's been put on history when it comes to how the stories come out and what they allow, what is allowed to be put in history books. Again, this is just history. These are supposed to have been facts that already happened, but they choose some powers to be choose and pick what should be in history and what should be out. This should be out. And one of the reasons I did this documentary is because the people that were involved in this and told their stories, they felt like they were a boogeyman for a long time. The thing about racism sometimes is like it's nothing tangible. You can feel it. It can be something that is around you, but you can't grab it and say this is it. And that's what it plays with your mind. It is something, and that peace of mind is so valuable. Peace of mind is so valuable because if you don't have peace of mind, you react in other ways that might not be healthy for you. So this right here, this documentary gave peace of mind to a group of people who didn't have it. They just thought about it as a boogeyman, or you consider yourself a victim, or you consider yourself you start spiraling to all type of things because there's no real tangible evidence, but something happened and something is happening to your family physically. But you can't, so now this has given peace of mind to these good people. So, but a lot of people did not know about it. So this is what this documentary is for, and also to get people motivated because they clearly want something else to happen, since they closed off everything and how they handle it. So there we go. Hopefully that answered your question.
Brave stories change the world.
And you are the story.
Give it up for these filmmakers, everybody. Damien and Eli, please meet them after here. Take a right out of the screening here. They'll be on the red carpet doing some photos.
Yes.
Thank you, too, for being here. We love you. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Filmmakers, real quick, and audience, let me tell you real quick before you leave, the things coming up tomorrow. We have a documentary on Rosa Parks here at 10 a.m. We also have a short film. And is Susana still here? Yes, the filmmaker tomorrow for Un Barco para mi mamá. Right here. Wave your hands in the air. She has a short film tomorrow. Please come see her. 10 a.m. The whole block is called Justice for All. Then at 12:30 we have Celebrating Black Stories. Y'all, 12:30 p.m. The movies at 12:30 will rock you. Spoken word and music, amazing. And then we have Miss Michelle Ricks here. Do you see this woman? She is deaf and she is autistic, and she will be here tomorrow. She was incarcerated for 5 years without an interpreter. Could you imagine not being able to hear or speak, and you have nobody to help you, and you're in jail for 5 years? She will be here tomorrow with 15 of her artwork pieces. Saturday night tomorrow, we have Nadine Crocker with the Euphoria-like film called Continue, which is rated R. It's not officially, but we're saying that, so children under 18 will not be admitted. If you'd like to volunteer, where's Kristen Adams? Kristen, our volunteer coordinator. She is here. Give it up for her. If you need or if you want some volunteer experience, please join us. And then Sunday morning, we have Film Church with my film called Last Chance Charlene. We have donuts and coffee to be provided. Tickets are still available at BraveMaker.com. That's all we have. Thank you to Prince Street Partners for supporting and presenting. Have a great night, everybody. Go to Nighthawk or Blacksmith Bar, which is down Broadway, and come grab some popcorn off my shirt if you'd like. Okay? Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone. Step and Repeat is around the corner. That's a fancy word for backdrop and photos tonight, right now. All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you, Strathies, our production team. Thank you, Guerrilla Wanderers, our digital content creators. Take a breath. Nothing else tonight, y'all. The air conditioning's on now?